Hey everyone, welcome back to the show.
Yeah, we have some exciting news to share today.
Absolutely, let's dive right in.
We are diving deep today, looking into a strategy that, the rich seem to quietly use in Nigeria. It's a way the government itself has set up to pay you every quarter, whether you're working or not. We've got a whole stack of sources on federal government of Nigeria bonds, FGN bonds, and also their little brother, the FGN savings bonds. Our mission today is to cut through the jargon, really understand the difference between these two, and show you exactly how people are using them to get an income that feels just like a predictable quarterly salary. But before we jump in, the sources make a key comparison to treasury bills. T-bills are what they call entry level. So if T-bills are the entry point, what makes FGN bonds the next step up? What's the core difference?
That's the perfect place to start. And really, it all comes down to the time horizon. They're both government-backed debt instruments, which is why they're so secure. But treasury bills are short-term, really short.
Less than a year?
Exactly. 91 days, 182, maybe 364. And you usually get your interest paid up front as a discount. FGN bonds are, they're the long game. These are long-term loans. We're talking 2, 5, 10, sometimes even 20 or 30 years. And this is the crucial part for our deep dive today. Instead of paying you up front, they pay you a fixed interest amount, your coupon, every 3 months.
Every 3 months.
Like clockwork, right up until the bond matures.
So T-bills are for managing cash you need soon, but FGN bonds, that's how you plan for income 5, maybe 10 years from now. That steady quarterly payout is what creates that feeling you mentioned, like getting a salary from the government without actually working for them.
Precisely. You're giving the government a long-term loan, and in return, they give you that consistent interest payment every 90 days. That reliability is the foundation of it all.
Okay, so let's unpack these two tiers because the sources are really clear on this. There are two separate products for two very different groups of people. First, you have the standard FGN bonds, the FGNBs. These have historically been for the big players, right?
Right. Institutional investors, pension funds, the high net worth individuals. The barrier to entry is higher.
What are we talking minimum-wise?
You're usually looking at a minimum of 50,000 naira, maybe 100,000, depending on the broker and the specific auction. And a really critical point for those larger FGNBs is that they're liquid.
Meaning you can sell them.
Exactly. They trade on the Nigerian Stock Exchange, the NGX. If you buy a 10-year bond, but you suddenly need cash in year 3, you can sell it on the secondary market. That's key for the big players.
But that left most people out. So the government introduced the FGN savings bond, the FGN SB. And this one is tailored for, normal citizens, salary earners, small business owners, even students.
This is what really changed the game. The accessibility here is transformative. The minimum investment for the savings bond is just 5,000 naira.
5,000. That opens the door for almost everyone.
It does. You don't need a huge pile of cash to start building a government-backed passive income stream anymore.
Okay, but there has to be a trade-off. What do you give up when you go for that super low entry point of the FGN SB compared to the standard one?
You give up that liquidity we just talked about. The FGN SB is really designed to be held until it matures.
So you can't just sell it if you need the money back early?
Not easily, no. And that's by design, really. It keeps the instrument stable for people who are saving for the long term. It's a feature, not a bug.
So for you listening, the choice is clear then. If you think you might need your capital back before the bond is up, you need the bigger tradable FGNB.
But if you're sure you can lock away that 5,000 or even 100,000 for a few years to just build income, the savings bond is the perfect no-stress option.
All right, let's get into the mechanics, the math. We know what they are and who they're for. How does this quarterly income actually look when it hits your bank account? Let's use a simple example from the sources. Say you have an FGN bond paying 17% a year, and you invest 1 million naira.
Okay, so your total annual interest is 170,000 naira. Simple enough.
Right. But the magic isn't the total amount, it's the timing, isn't it?
It is. They don't make you wait until the end of the year. They take that euro 70,009 and they chop it into 4 equal payments. So every 3 months, a credit alert for 42,500 just appears in your account. It's income on autopilot.
And this is where we need to add some nuance. The sources kept saying zero risk and government-backed. But if I put in 1 million naira for 5 years at 17%, is it really zero risk? What about inflation?
That's the critical question, and I'm glad you brought it up. The zero risk part applies to what we call credit risk or default risk.
The risk of the government just not paying you back.
Exactly. And since the federal government can tax and print money, The risk of them defaulting on your interest or your principal it's effectively zero. But you're absolutely right to bring up purchasing power risk. That's inflation. If you're earning 17%, but inflation is running at 20%, your money is actually losing value in real terms.
So you're not getting richer, necessarily.
You're ensuring your money loses value much, much slower than if it was just sitting in a bank. It's about capital preservation and predictable cash flow. That's the balancing act.
And the other big plus is you get your original money back untouched.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
At the end of the bond's life, 3 years, 10 years, whatever, the government returns your full 1 million a year principal. You just collected income for years, and then you get your starting capital back. It's incredibly powerful for planning.
Speaking of planning, let's bring this to life with the case studies from the sources. They really show how different people are using this quarterly cash flow to solve very different problems. Let's start with the most powerful one for me, Chief Okan, the retiree.
A classic case. He's retired after 35 years, but his pension just isn't cutting it with rising costs. And he doesn't want the stress of starting a new business.
So he takes 3 million naira and puts it into FGN bonds, paying 16%. What happens next?
He creates his own salary. He gets 120,000 naira deposited straight into his account every 3 months.
Wow.
That's 480,000 naira a year. Passive income. He's literally living on government interest. No hustle, no stress. It's a foundational income floor for his retirement.
Now let's contrast that with Ada, the content creator. She's young, making good money, but she wanted to create a separate fund for fun.
Her luxury money, as the source called it. This is about lifestyle management, not survival.
Right. So she puts 2 million naira into a 5-year bond at 15.5%.
And that gets her 77,500 naira every quarter, over 300,000 a year.
And she calls that her hair, travel, and skincare money.
Exactly. By walling off that money, she stops herself from dipping into her business capital or her main savings for discretionary spending. It's a strategy for funding enjoyment, guilt-free.
I love that. Okay, what about someone just starting out? There's Musa, the salary earner. He makes a decent 280K a month, but he struggles to save.
A very common problem. He saves up, say, 500,000 naira over the year.
And then something comes up and he touches it. The savings never stick.
Right. So he moves that 500,000 hide into the FGNSB, the savings bond, at 14%. Because it's not liquid, it solves his discipline problem overnight.
You can't touch it.
He can't. But what he does get is 17,500 naira every quarter. It's not a huge amount, but that 70,000 a year acts as a buffer. The source said it drops just before things like school fees are due, and it massively reduces his stress. He feels organized.
And one final Tunde in Lagos, dealing with that crazy Lagos rent.
Ah, yes. The biggest single expense for so many people.
He put 1 million naira into bonds at 17%, with the single goal of tackling his rent.
Smart. That 1 million nets him 42,500 every quarter. That's 170,000 a year.
So when his December rent bill comes around, he's already got 170,000 set aside, ready to go. It just takes the pressure off.
It's a perfect example of using passive income to neutralize a specific major financial burden.
These stories make it so clear. It's not just about the return, it's the timing. That predictable quarterly cash flow is the secret sauce. So this brings us to the big question. How do you actually do it? For someone listening who's only ever used a regular savings account, what are the practical steps?
Okay, this is important. To get started, especially with the larger tradable FGNBs, you generally need what's called a CSCS account, Central Securities Clearing System.
Sounds complicated.
It sounds more complex than it is. Think of it as just the digital wallet or home where all your investments are held securely. Your broker will help you set it up.
So the first step is finding a broker.
Or an asset manager, or even just going to your bank. You buy these bonds through licensed financial intermediaries.
Which is the best route?
Well, your commercial bank can do it. But often, going through a licensed stockbroker or one of the SEC-approved digital investment platforms could be more efficient, sometimes even a bit cheaper.
So you just walk in and say, I want to buy FGN bonds.
Pretty much. For the savings bond, the FGNSB, it's that simple. There's a monthly window when they're on offer, and you subscribe. For the bigger bonds, you might participate in a primary auction where you bid for a certain amount.
That sounds a bit more hands-on.
It can be, but again, your broker guides you. For most people starting out, just buying via your bank or an asset manager during the subscription period is the simplest way to go.
And one huge point from the sources we have to mention, taxes. What are the tax implications on all this interest income?
This is another massive, massive benefit. Interest earned on FGN bonds, both the standard and the savings bonds, is completely exempt from all Nigerian taxes.
Wow, so that 17% is actually 17%.
It's what you get. No deductions, no paperwork headaches. It makes the real return even more attractive compared to other income streams that are taxable.
Okay, let's pull this all together. We've gone from the idea of a government salary all the way to the practical steps of buying in.
And I think we've established they are defined by three core things. 1, extreme security against default. 2, predictable quarterly payments. And 3, that powerful tax-exempt status. This isn't a volatile asset you have to watch every day.
No, this is an investment that rewards patience.
Patience and a long-term mindset, yes.
And the distinction is clear now. The Euro 5000 FGNSB is the perfect tool to build saving discipline. The Euro 50,000 plus FGNB is for those who need that option to sell on the secondary market. But the core benefit, that stress-free quarterly alert, is the same for both.
Which leaves us with a final thought for you to take away, building on the stories of Chief Okan and Tunde.
Yeah.
Now that you understand the power of quarterly, reliable cash flow money that isn't about hype or noise, think about the single most stressful, recurring financial pressure in your life right now.
Could be school fees, could be rent, could be car maintenance.
Exactly. And ask yourself, if you started treating income from an FGN bond like a predictable mini salary, what specific expense could you neutralize? What stress could you eliminate by earmarking that cash flow? Focus on that one thing, and that's when you'll truly see the value here.
Thanks for watching.
Please subscribe and click the notification bell.